Howdy. Let's see how the audio works on this Insta360 One X2 because I forgot my damn SD card. Yeah, I could take the SD card out of the Insta360, but then it'd have to be formatted. I don't want to mess with the SD card that I've already got formatted specifically for the Insta360. I haven't done that in a while, and I normally carry spares, but I don't have my normal stuff on because this isn't a normal trip. Anyways, what we're doing today is we're getting more practice on the big bike. I don't know that I should be doing this because these trails are very sandy and I'm alone. Nobody loves me. Let's get this road on the show. Alright guys, welcome back to another KTM Super Adventure R on the single track. Yes, we are doing it. So where should you ride your big adventure bike? The short answer is wherever the hell you want to ride the damn bike. Look, if your skills and your faith in your machine will take you out on single track, then get out and go ride single track. If you've never ridden single track on your bike, but you think you can, then go out and do it. Bring a friend if you want. If you're like me and you don't have any friends who bring their bikes out on the single track, or you do have friends that want to go, but you know, they have life happen, you know, they can't really make it whenever you can make it. Well, you're just gonna have to make that choice and go out and just get on the dang trails. That's all you got to do. These bikes are not meant for single track, but if you want to take your riding experience to the next level, get out there, because I'm telling you, it is definitely something different. Now, if your single track consists of a lot of rocky hills and this, that, and the other, just, you know, some crazy nonsense, then I would probably hold off, especially if you got some huge GS or something. But there's guys that come out here on their GS 1200s, so you know, these are fairly simple tracks. The biggest obstacle that we have on these tracks are just some deep, very loose sand. We call it sugar sand, as you can probably tell in some of these scenes. But it's getting out. It's getting out, and you know, testing your skills, testing your bike, and testing your fortitude. I know next time I go, I'm probably gonna go even longer. I'm gonna try and do a whole 14 miles. I think I did probably about 8 miles today. You know, whatever your definition of off-road is, that's where you can ride these bikes. I don't know what kind of voodoo KTM works with their bikes, but I can tell you this KTM 1290, it really does feel as if I were just riding a heavier dirt bike. And now I do have my suspension set up. That's another thing. Before you get out and go get crazy, get your suspension, at bare minimum, get your sag set, because if you run into loose sand, that's where sag is really going to help you or hurt you. If your sag isn't set right, then you're already fighting a losing battle, because it's just going to be a horrendous experience. I know this because that's how I started off before I learned about suspension and suspension tuning. So, and if you can't get your sag set, well, sorry, but you're too heavy or you're too light, and you need to have your bare minimum, have your springs readjusted. I say your spring readjusted, your spring replaced. You know, if you're going to do that, you may as well just go ahead and get the whole shock, you know, get it revalved. But you know, valving on these bikes isn't a big necessity because of the fact that you're really not going to be pushing the suspension that hard. You're not going to be hitting jumps at 30 miles an hour with these bikes. Get the spring changed, you know, to match your weight so you can get your sag set. Have you noticed how many times I've said sag? Sag is a big thing to get right, especially when riding through sand. Back to answering the question of should you. Well, that's totally up to you. Me personally, I like pushing myself. I like pushing myself to the point of, what is the point? There is no point. I just like doing it. Why? Who am I going to impress? Nobody. I mean, people are going to watch the videos, and hopefully this actually helps somebody, but it's not about impressing anyone. It's about, hey, you know what? You can do this too. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, man, I wish I could ride my bike on that stuff, well, you can. It just takes practice. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time to get my confidence built up to riding this big bike on these trails, but I also have a dirt bike. If you don't have a dirt bike, then I would at least rent or borrow one or go ride with a friend before you take your big adventure bike out on these trails. Otherwise, stick to the main roads and find you some sandy roads or some sandy section of roads, or go to the beach or whatever. You know, find something like that to go and practice on before you get on these little tight little single tracks. You got to practice on a big road or on a little bike before you start doing this. So once I got really confident in my dirt bike skills, and I have taken a couple classes on how to ride a dirt bike. I thought I knew how to ride a dirt bike. I thought I knew how to ride a street bike. Nope. Turns out I didn't know crap. So it's amazing what you learn. Yeah, I've been riding since, 1997. And barely in 2019 is when I started learning how to ride a motorcycle. And that's when I got into dirt riding, was at the tail end of 2019. So, you know, all that being said, yeah, you do what you do you. Do what you think you can handle, what your skills can handle. Yeah, you got to practice. You got to work your way on up. These bikes will go where you want them to go. So my main point of this video, guys, if you want to do this, if you want to get your bike out on single track, I would suggest that if you haven't ridden a dirt bike, go ride your dirt bike and get used to how bikes feel whenever they get really squirrely. You got your bike, you got your adventure bike. Now what do you do with it? You go ride that thing. Ride it to your best of your capabilities. Go take some classes, learn, have fun on it. That's what they designed these bikes for. And that's what you're going to do with it. You're going to go out and have fun. Ultimately, that's the goal of adventure riding, is getting out and having your own adventure, whether it's right around the corner or 3,000 miles away from home or a trip around the world. Go out and do what you can afford. Do what your body can afford. Trust yourself, trust your machine, and go have fun. Well, hopefully this kind of helped in some way. I don't know if it did. Well, I'm glad to help. All right, guys. Y'all be good. Have fun. Be smart about it. See you on the next one. Bye.